Hey again, it's Tiz here. So, as the title states, I have a few things that I want to go over regarding Final Fantasy XVI. There's a few things I've been thinking about, and I figured why not make a video out of it. Any excuse to talk about 16 by this point. So today I'm going to be talking about various things, like I want to go over some things regarding Clive's circumstances, the time skips, the icons, the different realms, as well as the world map. So first, this was actually brought to my attention via Reddit, a user called Chisana19, who I will link in the description box below if you want to check them out. They managed to spot a scar on Clive's chest, which I thought was super impressive. I mean, how did they even notice that? Like, kudos to you, Chisana19. I just thought it was interesting. Of course, we can't say how Clive gets it, but it sort of lines up with some other things that I've been thinking about. We can already tell that Clive's homeland, Rosaria, is probably invaded when he's still in his teens. Then, of course, we have the clip in the Awakening trailer where instead of sporting his red and black that we see in the main artwork, Clive is instead wearing silver armor, working in a group of other men with the same tattoos on their faces. Considering they all have it, this tattoo of sorts actually seems to be more like a brand. Maybe they're all prisoners of war who have been forced to fight under the flag of their conqueror. As for the chest scar, maybe Clive suffers it at that point, or he's possibly taken from his homeland and captured as a POW of sorts. I don't know. Something else that gets me thinking about, though, is that one of the interviews reveals that the game will cover a very vast period of time. Not only will we play as Clive in his teens, but in his 20s and even his 30s too. So what do you all think? Obviously Teen Clive is the one we see in the majority of the Awakening trailer, but what about Clive in his 20s? Do you think his time spent in that group of branded people is from when he's in his 20s? What about the red and black look? Is that when he's in his 20s as well, or is that when he's in his 30s? Personally, I think both are from when he's in his 20s, and the design for when he's in his 30s hasn't been revealed quite yet. It really depends on how quickly these time skips are going to happen in the game. One would assume the second time skip from when Clive is in his 30s wouldn't be until the later half of the game or so, but I mean, who knows? We could get both time skips before we reach the half point, or even closer to the beginning for all we know. Honestly, all the possibilities just make me more and more excited. Moving on, I came up with a little something that I wish I'd included in my icon video. Of course, it's about the icons, something I sort of noticed when I was having a conversation with my brother. I wanted to point out that a lot of the dominants look like they might share their eye color with their icon form. And if their eye color is instead a reddish orange, this might indicate that the dominant is berserk or not in full control. For instance, we have Benedicta. Her eyes are brownish gold in color. Garuda shares this, having piercing gold eyes. But when Joshua becomes Phoenix, when he is clearly in a state of grief, Phoenix's eyes are an imposing shade of red, instead of the blue eyes that Joshua actually has. The same for Ifrit during what could possibly be Clive's first shift. His eyes are also red, and if it is Clive and not a second Ifrit, well, he's clearly not in control of himself considering we can see Ifrit mercilessly tearing Phoenix apart, which of course Clive would, well, obviously, hopefully not do his younger brother, who he cares a lot about. Yet, when we see the two Ifrits in the end of the Dominance trailer, one of them has blue eyes. Clive's eyes are blue too, and I'm thinking this Ifrit is definitely meant to be him. The second one, whom he's punching out, has the same orange-red tinge like before. I'm wondering if maybe the scene isn't actually a fight between two Ifrits, but a sort of psychological battle within Clive, as he learns to take command and regain control of his icon form. I could be totally wrong, and the other Ifrit is one of these dark icons that's been mentioned before. Either way, I thought it was interesting to consider, especially because it even goes as far as supporting a few of my earlier theories, like how I think the older guy from the Awakening trailer might be Ramu, based on their similar facial features. Now that's not all though, they also both have blue eyes. The same for the Emperor of Zambrak. I believe that there is a possibility that he could be Bahamut. Both Bahamut and the Emperor also share the same eye color, gold. Same with Jill and Shiva. The only one that I'll need to rethink is Odin. I once wondered if the Nightlight guy from the Dominance trailer could be him, but over time I've sort of veered away from that thought. Not only does he look like he might be a part of the Empire instead of Wallowed, but he has brown eyes, so there's no way he could be Odin considering Odins are blue. Though this could make him a second candidate for Bahamut. Assuming he is actually with the Empire, his brown eyes could definitely end up as more so golden ones in his Eikon form. The only character who keeps me from feeling 100% confident about my theory is Hugo. I can't tell for the life of me what his eye color is even supposed to be. Titan has blue eyes, but interestingly enough, at another point in the Dominance trailer, we can see that his eyes are that berserk color of orangey red. So maybe this indicates that Hugo is going to lose control of himself in Eikon form at some point. Lastly, I wanted to talk a bit about the world map. Based on the descriptions on the official site, I wanted to take a jab at guessing which place is what. I'm pretty confident considering the site gives us some pretty detailed descriptions, but I mean, who knows? I got kind of bored and figured it would be cool to have a visual of the world I'm so eager to become a part of. So yeah, as you can see, I edited the world map with different colored circles. Naturally, I'll start with the one that I circled in red, which is the Grand Duchy of Rosaria, Clive and Joshua's homeland. It's said to occupy western Valisthea, its mother crystal situated on a volcanic island. Of course, the volcano on the map made it pretty obvious where Rosaria should be. So moving on, next I've circled the Holy Empire of Zambrak in a bright blue. It isn't stated where it's roughly located, but we've seen official artwork of Zambrak already, and its mother crystal is impossible to mix up with any of the others. So that one was kind of already just given to me for free. So next we'll cover Wallowed. I circled its main city in green, but really Wallowed apparently claims the entire eastern half of Valisthea, which is insane. It's also stated that they possess a mighty army, so they have a competent king, a powerful army, and a huge realm. But if we remember that Benedicta is from there too, then they also have two Eikons, Garuda and their king, who based on their flag has to be Odin, I think. I don't know what kind of role they're going to play in the game, but I'm thinking they've got to be the most powerful realm on Valisthea, with Zambrak as the next highest threat probably. Unless having Bahamut alone kind of puts them on equal ground with Wallowed. Plus I don't know, I have the suspicion that Zambrak also has two Eikons. So the only thing that they're lacking from Wallowed, in my opinion, really is just kind of the amount of land. So really they could be kind of like equal amount of threat. But let's move on to the Dalmekian Republic. This is where Titan's dominant is from, Hugo. The only fact that gave away its location was that its mother crystal is apparently half hidden in the heart of a mountain range. I've circled its whereabouts in yellow. The mountain range with the crystal poking out is actually illustrated right on the map, so I was able to locate it really easily. So now the last two places are a bit more mysterious. Not so much because of their location, but because neither has a dominant. The first is the crystalline dominion. It sits at the heart of Valisthea, where I've circled it in violet. It's an autonomous dominion led by a council of representatives from the surrounding nations. This has me wondering if this is the location of the political scenes we see throughout the Awakening trailer. It would make sense considering we kind of see a cluster of just different people from different nations in those scenes. Unless, of course, there's alliances between different places that we're not yet aware of. That's always a possibility too. So lastly, we have the Iron Kingdom. They're a small group of islands off the coast on the western side of Valisthea. I circled the islands in black, unsure of the amount of territory that they actually possess. Like, I don't know if their realm is made up of all of those islands, or if they only use a few of them. I also found it interesting that their mother crystal is stated to be at the heart of one of their islands, yet there isn't any such illustration like the other mother crystals. The Iron Kingdom sounds kinda cult-like to me. Apparently they worship the crystals, yet they view dominants as unholy monsters. They'll even go as far as executing any dominants who are unfortunate enough to be born there. They seem pretty messed up, and considering they're neighbors with Rosaria, I'm actually a bit worried that they're the ones who attack them early in and capture Clive. It would make sense considering the group at the beginning of the Awakening trailer were focused entirely on killing Shiva. Originally, I figured they'd target the dominant for strategic purposes, but after realizing that it may be the Iron Kingdom at work, it might be more so a decision made from hatred and their prejudice. But yeah, this is just me rambling and overreaching by this point. If anybody wants to talk 16 to me, feel free. That or share your own thoughts in the comments. Let me know whether or not you think we've already seen all of Clive's timeskip designs or not too. Until next time, fellow 16 waiters, take care.